3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Gameography, the podcast about games
And
the people who make them. I'm Devin,
and I'm Tim.
and
that's the intro to the podcast. Is everything we
now we are into the podcast.
Now this is the podcast.
This is the podcast.
Brace yourself for what is now the podcast that is now started. Like the kids who played which game and which starter they picked, because that's some suggestive advertising.
Yeah. That's
Subliminal messages.
So if you hadn't guessed, today's episode we're talking about the seminal
Super Mario 3!
I'm glad I didn't have to do it this time.
We'll take turns.
So I guess let's just get into it.
Okay, now, this is the podcast. Okay, this is the podcast. That's so weird. What was she saying?
She was like, if only I could go back to that time, like when like Princess Peach was like ruler of Mushroom Kingdom or something like that.
Wait, so are the lyrics from the perspective of Mario?
No, because she's singing like Mario is like strong and like energetic. He's running and like jumping on dudes like. That's like literally the lyrics.
Oh my gosh.
It's like just describing Mario like playing the game, or like Mario like going through like it's like now he's like jumping on a Goomba or whatever. This is the perspective of the player almost.
But then if you want to go back to when she was princess, then that makes you one of her royal subjects.
So maybe you're Toad.
Yeah.
Maybe it's from the perspective of Toad.
Maybe it's from the perspective of Toad. So Super Mario 3.
Super Mario Bros. 3 released for the Nintendo Entertainment System the Famicom in Japan on October 23rd, 1988, and North America on February 12th, 1990.
Wait. Hold on. Wait. You're telling me this came out on the same system as the first Mario? You gotta be joking me.
Ding. Oh, Tim, we'll cover that and so much more in this episode. You may be asking though. You may have caught that the game came out a full 2 years before it did in America in Japan. And
I wasn't even listening to the dates you said. What were they? 98 and 90?
Or came out in 1988 and then 1990 in the United States.
Wow, that's like a full 2 years apart between the Japan and the United States.
Between Japan. So this is due mostly, we'll get into it a little more, but this is due mostly to a worldwide like computer parts shortage that was going on at the time. And it's kind of actually similar to what is happening now with like there's like a computer parts shortage, and that's like part of the reason why like PS5s and Xboxes.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Are like so hard to find because they just like they can't like there's not enough supply because it's like the same pieces also go to like your new MacBook and like Intel stuff and like graphics cards and stuff. Like everything is hard. Like literally everything is hard to find right now.
That's interesting. Yeah, I did hear about like whatever the new like PC graphics card, like the 3080 or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a PC gamer. Do you know any PC gamers?
I don't want to get into this right now. The wounds are too deep and too fresh.
We should have a whole episode about our conflict.
Just
our
where we
personal.
read through our like chat about.
Honestly, that actually would be interesting to me. I think it would get too tense to release. I do genuinely think it would be very uncomfortable.
I don't think it would. I think it would just be boring.
Well, that's not a problem so far for us.
Yeah, I mean,
As in, we have no problem
clearly
with it being boring.
our listeners, all one of them, like we're listening to boring stuff. But yeah, so that is why it came out so much later. But that we'll get into this later, and then also in our next episode when we talk about the Wizard. The Wizard. That gave them a lot of extra time to just like promote it. The game was like already done.
Yeah.
And so they could just like basically promote it. They also like had this strategy of like creating artificial demand where they would on purpose like not release games.
Oh.
Even if they were like done.
Oh, interesting.
And like and also like do stuff like not ship like all of the copies that they had so that like people would like go to stores and they would be sold out and then like kids would want it more.
So once again, this is more like the PS5 and new Xbox.
Are they doing that?
I feel like they probably are to some degree.
Yeah, I don't think they are, but maybe.
Yeah, but didn't this essentially create this whole like kind of world of like underground copies of Mario 3 and like information being spread around about it and like people talking about it in darkly lit rooms in the United States?
Yeah, there was a lot of cults, I think.
A lot of Mario cults, yeah. This is still a problem today.
The FBI is still rooting them out. Wait, did you read about like bootleg copies or something? Because I haven't heard anything.
I thought I saw somewhere that. I don't know. I just know that it was, people were talking about it a ton because it wasn't available for so long.
Yeah, I was thinking about like there's no like they couldn't do that today, because like they could. I mean, obviously, like it does happen where like games come out like a few months with difference and stuff, but it's like, especially for a game this anticipated, you could not get away with like, okay, just wait a couple of years, guys. It'll be fine.
What if Breath of the Wild 2 came out now in Japan in 2 years from now?
Yeah. Like insane. Well, like people will just like pay insane amounts of money to like get it from Japan.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like not that it wasn't in like the 80s and 90s, but like the world is so like it's so much easier to do that stuff now.
Yeah.
And also like you would I'm guessing also like a Japanese Famicom wouldn't have like even like worked on like an American like TV.
Yeah, probably
and, like
not.
Electricity, like
and I bet
and stuff.
I have to imagine that all those like adapters and stuff that you probably could get now, like were not anywhere near available.
Exactly,
the way they are now.
Yeah, or it would be like a huge ordeal, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I guess let's get into the making of the game. The game took more than 2 years to complete. If you recall, the first Mario took like under a year, I think.
Oh, wow.
Or like about a year. It had a budget of $800,000.
Mario 3?
Mario 3,
okay.
Yeah. The first game had a staff of around 7 to 8 people overall, and Mario 3 had a staff of 20 to 30 people.
Yeah, I mean, all of this makes a lot of sense. Like, that's not surprising at all.
No,
it's just the density of ideas. And
also just like, it is a lot. Like, it is just a lot longer and bigger.
Like, it's like a lot more game. Yeah.
Like, the Mario 1, you had 8 worlds, and each one had 4 levels.
Yeah.
This one has 8 worlds, but each one has, like, 9 or 10 levels. So it's, like, way more.
And also, I mean, in the first Mario, I really felt like it's like after a certain point, you really exhaust the like new things that are going to happen. Whereas every world is like truly different and has like different enemies.
It's like every world is like has a different theme with different enemies and like exactly like different. And every like even level, they like have like a new like kind of like gameplay idea.
Yeah.
Like this is like the thing for this level. But yeah, and in Mario 1, it's just like getting harder.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like so according to Miyamoto, the general plan for Super Mario Bros. 3 was to make it a game that players of all skill levels could enjoy. Tim, do you want to comment on that?
I enjoyed it.
But like they did do a lot of things, like even outside of like I feel like the level design that just made it easier. Like there's a lot more ways to get like extra lives and stuff in this.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true.
Like there's all like the bonus games and stuff you can do, and then there's also like the at the end of every level there's like the spinning roulette thing.
Yeah,
that you jump into.
Although I got to be honest, that did not. I didn't get that a single time. Like
I got it once. Literally the first 3 levels, I got it.
Wow.
And it gave me like 5 lives, and I was like, nice. And then I never got it again. You still get 1 life though, so
yeah.
Like every 3 levels, you're just getting another life.
Yeah. I never won that. I never won the card game. I never won the the roulette where it's like the 3.
We have to line up the image.
I didn't win any of that. I didn't even come close a single time.
Wow. I guess you're not a real gamer.
Yeah, all skill levels. I'm the all in that statement.
Yeah. I mean, were you just like for the spinning one? Were you just like smashing the button, or were you trying to time it?
No, I was trying, but it's like it's so delayed that it's like I couldn't. The rhythm didn't make and yield anything for me, even though I tried to like do it when it was at the same time.
No, you can do it, like, but it is hard because they're all going at different speeds. But it does seem like it's delayed, but like if it's in the middle when you hit the button, it does like actually go.
Really?
It goes through and then it stops there.
I would hit it and it's like you'd hit it and it would go through like 3 or 4 more as it slowly stopped.
Yeah, well, I don't know how many times it goes around, but it does like stop on the one theoretically that you press it on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway.
It's good for all skill levels.
Designed and directed by, well, there's actually multiple designers that were added to this, but directed by the original team of Miyamoto and Tezuka. And it seems like this is not like confirmed anywhere, but it seems like Tezuka was like maybe originally kind of more in charge, and then Miyamoto like came in and was like, I don't really know, but
what's giving you that idea though?
But okay, so this is the idea: is that Tezuka had the idea of like, okay, like we need to make it like really different, like we need to like change it up.
Yeah. So
like he was gonna make it an isometric game instead of a side scroller.
Whoa. What?
So he said, this is in an interview from later where Miyamoto said he wanted to look from a little above, but in Super Mario Bros. It is important whether Mario's feet hit the ground or not, even barely. With a diagonal view from slightly overhead, you lost your sense of distance to the ground, so I told him that develop would be difficult. And then Tezuka says, yeah, it was, in parentheses, laughs wryly. So partway through development, we switched to a side viewpoint, but there are relics of the bird's eye view in the final product, and he mentions like the black and white like checkered like ground on some parts.
Oh yeah.
Like that, I guess, was like the ground on.
Oh, interesting. That sounds like it would have been cool.
So they went back and just like, okay, we're just gonna go back to regular old Mario, but we're just gonna like up the ante on everything basically. Add new like different kinds of power-ups and stuff, and new enemies, new like gameplay ideas and stuff, new moves Mario can do, like they added like sliding, like if you press down on like a curved thing, you like slide. And did you not do that?
I didn't even do that. No.
Oh my God.
It took me like literally like a long time before I even realized that you could like do that jump flying thing, like when you have the raccoon, where once you hit the run, if you jump, you like start kind of
when you fill up the P meter,
your P meter, when you fill up your P,
when you start peeing, just dousing enemies down below you.
NSFW. That the P meter though and the running was truly my like favorite new mechanic though in it. Like I love the little sound it plays and just his arms,
It is very weird. Like I've always thought that like the meter thing is very weird though.
Yeah, it is.
Like agree?
Truly, very weird. It's like I didn't even realize that was what it was measuring for a while. And it's like you didn't need to put that there. I can see whether or not he's running.
Yeah,
and it's kind of binary, right? Like you don't speed up gradually.
No, but you do need to like fill it up all the way in order to fly. or like jump really high.
Yeah. But that's when you hit the real run.
Yeah, they could have. Well, yeah, I like it now, but it is still like perplexing that it exists.
Yeah.
So in order to do all of this stuff, with the NES being like 6 years old or something at this point, like pretty old, and with the Sega Genesis on its way, Nintendo was trying to obviously make it look like it wasn't the same machine that made the first Mario Bros.
Yeah.
And like new technology, they were able to add it into like new technology into the actual card itself.
Oh, okay.
So it has the was called the MMC3 chip, which allowed for more processing, including diagonal scrolling.
Diagonal scrolling.
I feel like, and also a big thing for me is that you can go backwards.
Yeah, for sure. I forgot. Yeah, because you told me that was one of the first things I noticed, but I had forgot that you said in the podcast that was a technical limitation.
Yeah, of the first one, exactly. Yeah, and then also it allowed them to have that like bottom screen that has the P meter and your like coins and stuff. Apparently, they couldn't do that for some reason. Like they couldn't. That really seems like something that like would not be a technical limitation as much.
Yeah, especially because you have the stats up at the top, right? It's like, why couldn't you just put that at the bottom?
Yeah,
but I mean, honestly, they're just fitting so many more pixels, right? Like,
right. There's just so much. There's so much more art in this. Yeah,
and so it's like maybe it's like music. Literally, it just wouldn't have been possible to put that much information at the bottom without it like really obscuring the screen.
Yeah,
in the first one.
It had a 384 kilobyte memory chip, which allowed it to store 6 times the levels.
Wow!
The previous of the lost levels, specifically. So they had some aborted first ideas for new power-ups. Apparently, their initial idea was turning Mario into some sort of sea creature.
Like a kind of octopus guy, or?
I don't know. I mean, maybe that's what turned into like the frog. But yeah, I don't know. And then there was another rejected idea. I think this came out in like a hack. It has started raining. I hope your load is off, good listener. Because it is raining hard.
It is raining hard.
It's going to wash right off you if you haven't taken it off already.
Devin, 2 NSFW.
What does that even mean? I think this came out in like, do you remember that like Nintendo got hacked in the past year?
Oh, no, I don't remember that.
And there was like a big like leak of stuff. I'm not sure if this...
Oh, I do remember that.
That's where this came from, but or if it was from like people like opening up like a ROM of the game and like looking through like the code and stuff. But apparently an early rejected idea was turning Mario into a centaur.
Oh, wow. I don't know why, but that makes a lot of sense to me. I can really picture that. Has that like shown up in any way since?
I don't think so. There's like, if you Google image search it, there's like, I think like fans have like made their own like like pixel art. Like this is what it would probably kind of look like.
Why is that vaguely familiar?
I don't know.
That. Should have been like a Donkey Kong 64. Like, you know how they turn into those animals? I guess I could have used a different example, but like there should have been where Mario turns into all these different things.
Yeah.
Sea creature.
Yeah. I wonder if that is almost more of what they were saying is like, it's not like he's wearing a suit, but it's like he literally turns into something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Oh, doesn't he? I can't remember. Is it in Super? This is a spoiler for later in the Gameography podcast. But is it in Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo, or is it in the Yoshi one where he turns into an airplane?
Turns into an airplane?
I mean, if you don't know that, it's probably from that Yoshi one. You know what I'm talking about?
It's
Yoshi's
definitely not
Island?
in Mario World.
Okay, yeah. Then Yoshi turns into an airplane in that game.
In like Yoshi's Island?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Turns into a Yoshi plane.
So obviously, like the big new suit is the raccoon suit.
Oh,
And this is Miyamoto's quote about it. I'm sorry to say there isn't a funny story behind why we chose the raccoon tail. Miyamoto remarked. We thought the raccoon tail worked best from a practical point of view, and it fit right in with Mario's style. It also created some new gameplay possibilities.
What do you mean? It just practical sense. It's like, well, if he's in a float, clearly
I think what they were saying is the original idea was they just wanted Mario to have a tail.
Oh, to like smack with?
Yeah, to like spin around and smack stuff with. Yeah.
Okay. Because it's just never made sense to me why he like floats with the raccoon tail. It's just so silly. It's just so silly.
I mean, like, raccoons don't fly.
They don't fly and they don't float. They don't, frankly, spin either. But I'll give them that one. But the rest of it, I just can't. I can't accept.
Now that you say that, that.
But man,
But that is like 100% on brand for Mario. Just if you think about it, nothing makes sense.
I mean, absolutely, absolutely. But I really like the raccoon suit.
Yeah,
because one, it's just very cool looking. I don't know, it's nice. A raccoon tail, it's very video gaming. That's very Japanese. Makes a lot of sense to me. And then the fact that you have a power up that isn't the fireballs, which are like, it's an attack, that's fine. But the fact that it's like an actual platforming ability that you have now where you can float and make more precise movements. And especially for the levels where it's like, it's more precarious. Like I'm thinking of specifically the ones where there's all the moving platforms, like it was so helpful on those and added a whole other element of like kind of floating down and then bouncing off of a floating Koopa Troopa and then coming back up. I just thought it was great.
Yeah. And what was I going to say? I don't know. I've lost it. I was going to say, I think for me, just because I played like Super Mario World first as a kid, and that has the cape in it and not the raccoon suit.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
To me, like the cape, like the raccoon suit always feels like wrong to me.
Yeah.
Like I never quite liked the like how you can like after you jump like do the little raccoon spin and it'll like give you a little float. I don't know, it just feels like a little bit off to me.
Does the cape do the same thing with the floating?
No, actually. It flies differently, like where it's like the same thing where you first have to run, like get a long run and then jump, and then you can like go like up and down, like and like dive bomb with it and stuff. So it's a little different. It's not like it's not like press it to like go higher. There's lots of new enemies in this game.
Yeah.
But one that sticks out is the chain chomp.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that one. Yeah. Gosh, yeah. There's so many. Did we decide in the last one that the bob-ombs were in Mario 2?
I think they must be because I don't know where else they would be from.
I didn't see them in 2, but I remember them in this one. And
they're definitely in this one.
The chain chomp. I mean, what an iconic character.
Are you aware of the backstory of the chain chomp?
No.
It just comes from like when Miyamoto was a kid, there was like a dog that like attacked him, and like I think it just like barely like either like someone was like holding the leash or like it was like chained up or something, and so it just like barely got onto him.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. Yeah.
Just directly out of Miyamoto's experience.
Some of my some other enemies, I wrote a list of my favorite ones.
Nice.
I don't know their names, but so the little Goombas specifically.
I have an anecdote about that actually.
Well, okay, I like the little Goombas that were like hiding in the blocks. Were there also just standard little Goombas free floating? I already forgot.
There's like Goombas. There's like normal sized Goombas that like fly, and then they drop the little Goombas.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's great. I also the green guys who throw up spike balls.
Oh, you mean the like piranha plants that like?
No, it's in like World 2, I think, where the guys are just the little green circular guys, and they'll kind of walk around. Then when they see you, they just tilt their head back.
Little like kind of turtle looking guys.
Yeah. It's freaky. And then Big Fish and Angry Sun. Those two are my top.
Angry Sun is classic.
That was truly wonderful.
That guy's an asshole.
Yeah. Oh boy, yeah.
maybe we should just talk about our what our history with this game is. I know, like, I don't think you have ever played this game before, right?
I don't even think I fully knew it existed until like when we started planning for this episode.
Wow.
Because I think this whole time I'd thought I'd combined that and Super Mario World. Is that the one on Super Nintendo? Mm-hmm. See, I always forget the name of that one too. Yeah. So I really didn't have a concept of it. But after playing it, I'm actually pretty sure that I did have like one experience playing this game as a kid. Because the overworld looked familiar to me. But still, that could have been super... No, it was this one because I remember the raccoon.
Yeah, Super Mario World looks pretty distinct.
Yeah.
Like the overworld and stuff.
Yeah.
I first played this game because my cousin got it.
I played it at my cousin's house too. Cousins.
Got it for like the remake for Game Boy Advance.
Oh, okay.
Is that where you played it? Or
No, I played it on the TV.
Oh,
so
wow,
I assume
okay.
it was a Super Nintendo.
Yeah. It was remade. Obviously, it was remade for the Super Nintendo with Super Mario All-Stars, but then like...
Oh, yeah.
I assume it was like using those graphics. I don't really remember, but like remade for the Game Boy Advance as well. And we would like play it like, I think we did like the like one person plays Mario, one person plays Luigi, and like if you die, then you like,
yeah.
So we like pass it back and forth.
Yeah.
We definitely didn't beat it, but like we like played it like all day, basically one day, I think, where we got like pretty far, like at least like halfway through or something like that. Like I definitely remember like the angry sun from that.
Yeah, I bet that, as a kid that must have been especially tough.
Yeah, he just comes for you.
Yeah, he's really going for you.
And like it's so weird because like I don't know why he in particular sticks out, that it's like he would need an explanation, but it's like he's just there in like a couple levels and then he's just never there again.
It's just suddenly there's an angry sun in the corner and it's like, why is this?
Wait, is there another sun? Like this sun doesn't seem to be like lighting the world necessarily.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a very solid observation. Why are we not burning to death in the presence of a active star?
Who is angry? Might I point out?
Yeah, might I point out he's furious.
Anger is heat. Do you agree?
Yeah, that's just science. There's no agreement necessary.
Yeah.
The sun in the real world, the solar sun, is powered by anger. The sun is furious.
The sun is furious.
The sun is holding a grudge, and this grudge is lighting our planet and keeping us all alive.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
To go back to the little Goombas, there's an anecdote from one of the like game designers underneath Miyamoto. There was like a bunch of them who, and his job was mostly to work on like enemies, like come up with new enemies and stuff. So, and he was coming up with the little Goombas, and he remembers Miyamoto didn't ask.
I can't crack it. I need something else. What if it was a smaller Goomba?
And he remembers Miyamoto would in like the design, like when they were talking about stuff, he wouldn't ask like, what is the essence of Mario, is the quote he used. Like he wouldn't ask questions like that, like, is this Mario? He'd ask just like, is this fun?
Yeah.
And then his example they uses, he was struggling with those little Goombas that were like supposed to like I guess be like pulling you down so you couldn't jump as high. And so he just tried to make Mario heavier and slower when the Goombas were on him, but Miyamoto said it didn't feel right. And then Miyamoto came up with a solution of, instead of making Mario heavier or slower, they just put an invisible block above Mario. So if you jump up, you just hit that invisible block. So you couldn't jump as high. And he says it was a really simple solution, and when I made it, it just was like he said, it was great. Lots of times after that, when I ran up against a wall, he came up with a completely different approach. And so much like just like probably working on Nintendo games in general, they could only like test things a couple times a day because it just took so long to like program stuff. So they would test once in the morning, once in the afternoon. And this designer, Kono, said that the team felt exhausted toward the end of development period, probably towards the end of the like 2 years they've been working on this. Geez. Which I feel like now is like very normal
Yeah.
for like the length of amount of making a game, but probably at the time that was like
Yeah.
crazy.
And also, I mean, you have to think like that's 2 years now of like programming in a much simpler way.
Right.
Whereas like that must have just been so much more involved.
Yeah. So they felt exhaustiveness, but added that Miyamoto's pickiness kept them focused on perfection. I feel like this is something I like have just read like from around various games and various like from various people that like Miyamoto is just like, well, this is his quote, is like, he doesn't think at all about all the work involved in fixing something. If it'll make the game even a little bit better, Miyamoto is always unhesitant about making changes. And there's like, I saw another quote that it was like, if you're like working in your office and you hear Miyamoto coming, you're like, oh no, because you know you're gonna get like have to like redo like a lot of work. And like he just doesn't care about it. He's just like, yeah, just like whatever it takes like to make it better.
I mean, clearly it's worked out for him.
Clearly it's worked out
that
for him.
sounds
Yeah.
like it might be one of the kind of defining aspects of his kind of like
Yeah.
artistry, his gamistry.
Yeah. It does sound like it would be kind of like torture to work for
Yeah,
him.
absolutely. Yeah.
So there's that. This is a little tidbit I found reading through old Nintendo Power magazines, which is like the magazine that they did that was like just like ads for Nintendo basically.
Oh yeah.
And also like hints and stuff
Mm-hmm.
for, because these games are so dang hard.
Yeah.
They're, like,
yeah.
There's literally a whole issue after Mario 3 came out that's just like a walkthrough for Mario 3. That's like this. Okay,
Oh,
like
wow.
these like pages are on this world and then like
Yeah.
etc. So there was like a before like, so this would be the month before it came out in the US. There was like a feature on Super Mario Bros. 3, and it said Miyamoto has visited the United States 3 times and says he has seen a lot of originality in this country, especially in the area of music. In 1987, he and his team toured Disney World, San Francisco, and New York City in search of inspiration. On his next trip, he told us he'd like to visit Nashville. In parentheses, we can only wonder what kind of games that trip would inspire. For our listeners out there, Gameography is recorded in Nashville.
We've actually
Tennessee.
somehow never mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's
Somehow it's never come up.
very uninteresting
Yeah.
and irrelevant, but
Oh man, what would did he ever visit
don't know.
Nashville?
I don't know.
Gosh, what would a Nashville inspired Miyamoto game be like?
what would Miyamoto do in Nashville?
Got on Broadway, hit up the honky tonks.
I'm sure Miyamoto drinks, but I can't picture him drinking. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know.
like I'm sure he would like have like one drink. You know, like he'd have like a whiskey and be like, drink it for like an hour.
Yeah, that seems right. Yeah, but and then I feel like he would just kind of like politely, no, I can't do it anymore. That's already too much.
Yeah,
I'm a simple, humble man.
yeah.
That's the
What would Mario think? This is that's pretty much it for the development. But one thing that I feel like is kind of weird that it was like a theory because it seems pretty obvious, and then that Miyamoto confirmed, but that the Mario 3 is all a stage play.
Yeah. As was confirmed in a famous video on the UK
Twitter.com.
Nintendo Twitter page
Yeah.
from 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's pretty clear.
Yeah, like it starts out with like curtains opening and like all the characters running up. Also, I was like very confused at that part because there's no sound.
Yeah.
Do you remember
yeah,
that? Like,
yeah.
I was like, is the game like broken? Like what?
Yeah, I think I had
Like it seems like there should be music there.
Yeah.
And there's just not. And it's so like, it's like, I don't know. It's almost like David Lynchy or something. Like it's like, what has happened? It's just like
It's very
red
unsettling.
curtains, and then like it's like literally like the Black
It
Lodge.
really is very David Lynch, yeah. It's a stage. Actually, what people don't know is that Mario 3 is a stage play directed by David Lynch. That's canonical.
That is canonical. And Miyamoto has in a separate interview said that that the Mario characters, because he was asked like why in like the main Mario games, like is Mario like Bowser's always stealing Peach and then like having to go get her, and then like there's there's like Mario Golf and Mario Tennis and stuff and like Mario Kart where they're all just like hanging out together.
Yeah.
And
Fair point.
It's a fair point. And his answer was that like, I guess the way like the old like Popeye cartoons worked was that like the characters would have like different roles depending on what episode it was. Like, so it wasn't always like the bad guy, like Bluto or whatever, who would like guy. Steal olive oil. Would not. A great name. Apparently, like that wouldn't always happen. Like,
really?
Like sometimes there would be like buddies and stuff, and so like he said it was like kind of like that, where like they're actually more like actors and just like,
oh my gosh,
put like that totally fits into the Mario 3 thing of like it's a play, and it really like puts into perspective like all the other Mario games in a sense too, of like, why are they always doing like kind of the same thing?
Yeah.
It's like, and like they never like really like reference the fact that they are, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, this is just like what tonight's performance is.
That's a really mind-blowing concept.
Yeah, I know.
That actually makes a lot of sense, and
yeah,
it's kind of like making me uncomfortable.
Yeah, and like this game in particular, really, I feel like sets the blueprint for Mario even more so than the first Mario.
Absolutely.
Like Bowser comes in with his like airships and stuff in this one, and it's like literally like every Mario game since he's been doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, you know, in Odyssey he has those airships again, and I feel like
and in Galaxy.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
And in Super Mario World.
Jeez, like, yeah, because I think that I hadn't really played Galaxy yet when I played Odyssey, and I kind of thought that was almost an original thing in Odyssey, or at least it had not really been in much other stuff. I knew it was kind of familiar to me.
Yeah.
But it's kind of crazy that that's been here since this early on. But this, I mean, it really does feel like Mario 1 and 2 are like the first kind of attempts at what Mario could theoretically be, and then 3 is like, this is Mario, and everything else has descended from this one.
Yeah, it's honestly kind of sad how like little Mario has, like, obviously 3D Mario is very different, but like 2D Mario has not moved on from this. Yeah. Like it was blowing my mind how, like, cuz I played earlier in the year the new Super Mario Bros. U. It was blowing my mind just how like identical it is. Like there's new like power-ups and stuff, but it's like even the structure where it's like you're like in a world, and like halfway through there's like a mini castle with like literally like that same like guy where you just have to jump on his head 3 times.
Yeah. And that same guy is in the new one? Wow.
And then like at the end of it there's like, you know, one of the Koopa kids. Yeah. They all have like a slightly different deal.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, I don't know that you can really, if that's totally fair, because those really aren't a continuation of the Mario series. That's like truly just kind of a nostalgia thing, right? Like, I feel like from the beginning, that series of like new Super Mario Bros. Where it's the 2D, like that has only ever been like emulating for people that never played the originals what those original games are like.
Oh, but they don't have to be that. That's
I mean,
like a total cop out and like thing that if that's like all they're trying to do, like I don't think that's what they should be doing if that is their goal. Like
I do agree, but I mean it's like it's kind of, I think I've always kind of written those games off to a certain degree. One just I don't.
You are famously anti 2D Mario.
Like that's not my like cup of tea, but it's just like that's, it seems like it's not meant to be anything other than like, let's put those same type of levels in 2.5D.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. They should be trying harder.
They should be, yeah. I mean, yeah. Like
we deserve it.
Yeah.
We deserve better games.
Like what's surprising me was there was stuff that I thought was new in that game that was like, oh, it's in Super Mario Bros. 3. Like what was an example? Like, I mean, just like the airship levels are like, you know the little like turny like corkscrew kind of things, where like you have to keep jumping on it to make it move forward. I thought that was like new in that in the
really?
new Super Mario Bros. And then it's just in this, and it's like,
that's
oh,
funny.
it works exactly the same.
That's funny. That's basically also the same as that thing in Mario 64, right? Like all the different parts where you have to run along that corkscrew. It's like similar.
It's similar. Yeah, you're talking about the like where it's like rolling and you have to like stay on top.
Yeah.
It is similar. Yeah,
It's like the 3D adaptation of that idea.
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah. They did add stuff like there's like you can do like the butt stomp in the new Super Mario Bros. And so there's like
that's true.
more stuff you can do, but like in broad strokes, it is
absolutely.
it is Super Mario Bros. 3, which is so insane. It's like that this game is now
21.
31
years old.
31 years old. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
We don't really have to talk about the story, but it's just well, okay, the interesting thing about the story that I don't know if I ever realized when I played it as a kid or if I just didn't pay attention, but like you're not trying to save Princess Peach like for most of the game. You're you're, like it's like all the kings of the Mushroom Land have been transformed, and you're trying to turn them back into humans.
Yeah, what are you talking about? We definitely need to talk about the story because this honestly raises so many questions. Okay, because so you're going through all of these worlds, and each world has its own king that you're trying to save.
Yeah. So it turns out the first Super Mario Bros. Is in the Mushroom Kingdom, and this takes place in like the Mushroom World or something, and there's multiple like Mushroom Kingdoms, I think is what it is.
What?
The Mushroom Kingdom forms an entrance to the Mushroom World, where all is not well. Bowser has sent his 7 children, this is from the instruction booklet, to make mischief as they please in the normally peaceful Mushroom World. They stole the royal magic wands from each country in the Mushroom World and used them to turn their kings into animals. Mario and Luigi must recover the royal magic wands from Bowser's 7 kids to return the kings to their true forms. Goodbye and good luck, said the princess and Toad as Mario and Luigi set off on their journey deep into the Mushroom World.
That's insane.
And like the when you get to the castle at the end, it's like Toad is there.
Yeah.
With the king, and they're like, "Roar," as their like weird animal form.
Yeah.
Do you remember what some of them are? I remember one of the
snake. I think there's one that's a rat. One was like a turtle kind of.
I remember there was one that was really crazy towards the end. But I don't remember what it is.
A question though that I had is that are toads then just the species that occupies these kingdoms in this world? Because I understood toads to be the servants of Princess Peach, but it appears that each country has their own population of toads.
Yeah, I think they're like the royal servants of all the kingdoms. Is what it seems like. Oh wait, what? Okay, yeah, okay. One of them is a piranha plant, also.
Oh my gosh!
I think it's like the 5th world or something, or 6th world. The second one is a dog, I think. I think it's the second one is the he's a spider. Remember that? He's just hanging down on a thread.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So weird.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are just great. Because they like just that was like insane production value. I feel like at the time where it's like you only see this once in the whole game, and they like drew this like whole animated like sprite just for that one like scene.
Yeah, and I mean it's like in comparison with the first one where it's like every time you just have the same toad saying the same thing.
Yeah,
it's like this time you have a whole little scene.
Yeah,
it's definitely that's like indicative of the kind of like attention to detail that you see in all the worlds. That's totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Also, that with the kings, did every single one of them have a mustache?
Good cue.
Because I was noticing a lot of mustaches. In fact, in specific, I think the World 4 or World 5 looked just like Mario.
Yes, the Waterland King looks
just like an old Mario.
Literally looks like Mario. Yeah. Oh, the Giant Land King is shirtless. He has no mustache. He is faceless, not faceless, facial hairless. The Skyland King has a big white beard. The Iceland King kind of looks like a pig in human form. Yeah, but lots of facial hair for sure.
Yeah, it was just making me think like, what is this Nintendo fascination with mustaches and facial hair?
I don't know. Yeah, do you think it was like an 80s thing or
That's actually probably very much the case, yeah. Also, what is, I think I might have asked you this in the Mario episode, but what was Japan's relationship with facial hair at this time? And also, what is it now? Could you say off the top of your head?
I definitely could not say what it was in the 80s.
Yeah.
Now,
Because I just can't picture like a lot of Japanese guys with mustaches.
No,
or beards.
most- maybe it was it did used to be more of a thing. Like definitely I feel like in like pre-modern
Yeah.
Japan,
Yeah.
by which I mean like not like that old, but like 100 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
like I think like there was like a lot of mustaches and stuff, but like definitely now like most people don't have facial hair. Like if you're like working, I feel like you're kind of like expected not to.
Interesting.
Like if you have facial hair, you're more of like, it's like, I feel like those are definitely more like the bohemian kind of people.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I don't care, man. Like,
Oh, that's funny. So like Japan's facial hair culture is like America's in the 50s or 60s.
yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe because, I mean, 80s, I just don't really know what was happening in, like Europe or other continents in the 80s. But I know that it's like obviously in America, mustaches were such a thing. I wonder if the whole thing is that it's like because Mario and Luigi are New Yorkers,
Yeah.
that it's like, oh, they're all American, they're all New Yorkers, we give them all mustaches because
Yeah.
that's what's happening right now in the 80s.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it is curious. Like it seems like the work breakdown between Miyamoto and Tezuka was like Miyamoto was more maybe involved in like the like level like design and stuff like that, and Tezuka was more like it seemed like he was like the main designer of like all of the graphics and everything.
Oh, interesting.
And that like he like the reason like why Mario like this game in particular I feel like really like set the tone for like all Mario games later on, where like everything is like cutesy even more so than in previous games.
Yeah.
Where like I don't remember who it was, but somebody was like we had to like tell him to like tone it down because it was like he was like he wanted to like draw eyes on everything and like make them cute. Like you'll notice in
TV's
like
Playhouse.
in like the overworld, like the like hills and stuff like have eyes even,
Oh,
and they're
really?
like
The hills have eyes?
the hills have eyes, yeah, but in a cute way.
It's a movie about Mario.
Um,
Oh, wow, I didn't even notice that.
I think it's one of the later worlds, but and then that like obviously like goes even more that direction with Super Mario World, and like Yoshi and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. And I feel like there's the whole like colorful, I guess cutesy is the best word, but just like jovial vibe of the whole game.
It's so like, yeah, it's so much more like colorful and just like, I mean, just like the variety goes so far compared to the previous game.
Yeah, especially that. Yeah.
Like every world truly does look different. It's like, that is so nice.
And I the whole time, I think I actually have a whole list of why, but I kept on feeling like it was very similar to Mario 64 in a way that none of the other ones have been, and that might just be because he established this style that we're talking about that then carried on to the later
And like
games.
the graphical style is similar.
Maybe not even
or-
I mean, because obviously they don't look anything, but it's just like something about the feeling of it all. And then there's also a lot of like very specific examples. I guess just the fact that in this one you have like sand, ice, sky, and big levels, which are all the like main kind of aesthetics of the world in Mario 64.
Yeah.
In particular, the big world was like, that's insane.
Yeah, it's insane. And also, okay, this is 100% a I mean, it's meaningless, but on level 4-6, so 4-6 is the world is the level in Big World where you can, I don't remember what it is you do. It's if you hit a switch or like hit a block, or if you go down a pipe. I think it's you go through a pipe and then it like switches. So like it's either like the big world or like the like small stuff.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Level 6 or 4-6, and in Mario 64 there's a level where that's the,
Oh my gosh, I didn't catch the 4-6.
yeah, I know.
That's why you said it 7 times.
When I like saw that, I was like, oh my God.
This is a creepypasta. This is what we're always talking about. This is wow.
Yeah.
That's truly bonkers.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was like one of my like favorite just like worlds in general. That and I mean, the sand place is cool.
I liked the aesthetic of the sand.
Yeah.
I really like
yeah, honestly, like
saw.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah, I think maybe what you're thinking of with like Mario 64 is like, because Mario 64 is very similar in the sense of it's like every one of the levels has its like a very specific look for the most part.
Yeah, they kind of reuse them in like
like towards the end maybe not as much, but like the first like
the first like half of the game.
The first like half of the game is like very like this is the fire level, this is the ice level.
Yeah, and then here's another ice level, and another ice level. Is there 3? I feel like there's 3.
I think there's only 2.
Each one of them felt like 3 whole worlds.
Yeah.
Save that for a couple episodes from now.
The level design, I feel like, is just so like good in this game. Like it's just like perfected. Like they took it to such a higher extreme. Like I'm thinking about like the airship levels. Where it's just like cannons shooting in all directions and stuff, and it's like so like laid out so that like, you know, if you try and like just like rush through it, like you will just die immediately. It's like
and they somehow almost predict like in that very Mario way exactly what you're gonna do. So you go there and it's like, oh, there was one shooting me right there. And then it's kind of like I kept on accidentally like bouncing off one to the next, just like it's very fun. Those in particular, actually, I had forgotten, but yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like, but mentioning that like that idea of like that we've talked about before of like anticipating what you're going to do and then like you just dying because of that. I feel like maybe for people who haven't played this game before or games like this before or just like older games in general, I feel like we have an expectation with modern games that like the game is like you're not like gonna die that much. You'll like face like setbacks and you might have to like try again, but it's not like you're just gonna die. But I feel like the like whole design of this game to a certain extent is like you have to die in order to like figure out how to beat the level sometimes. Not all the time. Like I definitely got through levels like without dying, but like there are some levels where it's like you just are not going to see it coming. Like
there's actually several points where, because as we always say, I was using the rewind function every single time I died. Basically. Actually 100%. I didn't let myself die for real at any point. And I was thinking like it actually would make this kind of a more enriching experience in a lot of ways to actually let yourself do that without the rewind. Like you can tell that they actually kind of accommodated for that. But you're right, because it's like in a lot of modern games now, I get annoyed when I even have to like go back a little bit. It's almost like just let me die and then immediately just put me back in with no penalty.
Well, it's like, and if you think about like Mario 64, the direction we went there, like you have like a whole life bar. Or whatever, circle or whatever. So like you can take multiple hits before dying.
And I feel like that might be partially because of, we're still in the echoes of the arcade era, which is where all their kind of video game design philosophies were developed to begin with, and at a time when dying meant more money. So it's like there's a whole different expectation, and they're still probably just beginning to really like accommodate the fact that it's like you're at home, you can just do it as many times as you want. So.
I think it's partially that, and I think it's also partially that like, at the end of the day, it's still like a 3 to 4 hour game. That like, even though this was like way longer than the previous Mario games, like it's still like 3 to 4 hours long. So like if they made it, easy enough for you to just like keep without dying and like having to redo parts, it would be like that much quicker. Like you could probably back in the day you would spend, because also the other thing is that's insane to me, is you could not save.
You still couldn't save in this one?
No.
I didn't even think
you
about that.
had to beat it in one go.
Jeez, that's like too much.
Yeah.
Why did they do that when they'd already figured out how to do it clearly in Zelda and Excite Bike?
Well, with Excite Bike, it was like passwords, I think, or whatever.
No, remember, I was just listening to the editing the
but I think that that didn't keep your like levels.
It saved. I just remember we said that it was like the first game that involved saving, but it was a very proto saving mechanism. It wasn't the same.
Yeah.
But in Zelda, you know.
I think probably the reason is just cost more because they had to put a battery in it.
Oh my gosh! I could. There's no world where I could beat this game in one sitting.
I mean, they did do stuff like the original one where it's like you could.
Oh, the warp world.
You could get the whistle in this game and skip worlds. I never got the whistle. I feel like they made it like harder. I feel like than in the first Mario to get to the warp worlds.
That makes sense why they would do that. Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like it's the kind of thing where it's like, well, there is one where because at the end of once you beat a boss, then you get a letter from Peach. Yeah. One of the letters from Peach says where how to get one of the whistles.
Oh, okay.
But it's in like World 3. And you're in like World 6 or 7 by that point. So it's like...
that's funny. So you'd use that next time.
Next time you play, yeah. But then there's another one I know somewhere else. And I feel like the only way you would really figure it out is by like reading a magazine or like hearing it from somebody. Yeah. Which is just like classic this era.
That's just classic, yeah. There's a real charm to the way that's just how information about video games spread back then. Yeah. It's like, you just had to read Nintendo Power. We should get an old copy of Nintendo Power and like read it for the podcast.
I could read some stuff. We on our Twitter at Gameography Pod.
At Gameography Pod at twitter.com.
We have some tweeted some, and I have some more screenshots that I'm going to tweet later from Mario Power. Okay. Or Nintendo Power.
Mario Power.
The Mario comic is from there. Yeah.
That has truly become just a personal meme between us this last week.
Yeah.
You really got to... Honestly, I don't even care if you follow the Twitter. Yeah. Just go look at that comic on the Twitter page because it's just
scroll back a few a little bit in history because it'll be a little bit,
I guess. Yeah. But like we this week we've been sending back and forth one frame in particular, and at one point I went to screen cap another one, and I just kept on looking. I was like, I don't know which one of these is the second silliest. Like, it's so hard to choose which one is a funnier reaction image.
Yeah, Mario getting his like giant nose bit by a piranha plant.
yeah, I almost used that one. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, there's him where he like jumps in the air, and his head, like he has no body basically because his head is so big, and his hat is flied off of his head. It's so good.
You know what's funny? I just realized I never even read the comic. I just looked at all those pictures because they're so overwhelming and weird.
The great thing about the comic is they're just like constantly making weird like... I mean, it's very similar to like the Super Mario Bros. Super Show that we covered in the last episode where like...
Lost to Power.
Where it's just like, yeah, lots of weird like Italian food like puns and stuff.
Yeah.
And just like, yeah, weird like jokes that don't really make sense. Mario calls Luigi Ouija in it exclusively. He never says Luigi. It's so weird.
That's interesting. When did that comic come out? I'm assuming like 90 around the same time.
Yes, I believe these are this comic that we screenshotted is from when Super Mario World was released.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's insane then that they were calling him Ouija that far back.
Ouija.
Year of the Ouija.
Yeah. Super Mario World was Year of Ouija.
Well, we did forget one thing. The Birdo connection. Which...
We didn't talk about the end, too, so we should...
Oh, that's true. But the Birdo connection this week was definitely tough. There's no Birdo in this game.
The connection was hard to find.
Yeah, we're actually already encountering the problem that will only get worse, I think, from here on out. But I did find one, which is that I obviously don't know the name, but one of the Koopa kids was the girl one.
Wendy?
Looked a lot like Birdo.
Really?
That's the whole connection. She had a bow tie.
Pink?
She was pink.
Yeah.
She just like aesthetically looked definitely in line with Birdo. Like,
do you know the thing about the Koopa Kids?
that they're Miyamoto's children?
They're based on the programmers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Like he made them, like based off of like the personality of the different programmers.
Oh, that's great.
And they're named after the programmers in the Japanese version. In the American version, they got rid of that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of disappointing. And they named them after strangely like famous like musicians. So there's Ludwig von Koopa.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And what are some of the other ones?
Mozart?
Yeah, just Mozart. Roy Koopa, named after Roy Orbison. I don't know what the other ones, I can't remember what the other one. There is Wendy, is like Wendy. The girl one. I don't know what.
Who would that?
The famous musician Wendy from Wendy's.
Yeah. Yeah. I love her music.
Yeah, and then the ending. Greatest ending of a Mario game of all time. You beat Bowser, which did you watch the like Bowser fight?
Yeah.
So there's like, it's I was trying to think, is there another like Bowser fight that's like this where like he's like pounding the ground?
Yeah, honest.
I don't know.
I mean, he does that in 64.
Does he do that? Does he like jump up?
Yeah, and then like there's the wave that you have to jump over, I believe. Maybe I'm misremembering that.
That he does that in Galaxy for sure.
Oh, okay.
Maybe he does it in Odyssey. Anyway.
Okay, so every Mario game?
Every Mario game after this. But anyway, yeah, like you jumping on him doesn't do anything. And so you have to like get him to kill himself, basically.
Yeah.
He has to commit suicide. But I was watching to get screenshots of the actual ending. I watched a playthrough.
Yeah.
And if you have the hammer suit, you can just throw hammers at him and he dies.
Oh, wow. That's
and it takes it literally was like 10 seconds.
That's so funny. Yeah, I watched a video of a speed run where someone did like fireballs.
Oh,
so it's like, if you have like a weapon power or whatever,
so
it's like,
crazy.
Just
it's like
it breaks
so
the boss
anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Okay, but then you get to Peach, because Bowser does steal Peach after you have saved all of the kings. And then you have to go to Dark World or whatever it's called.
Which also, that overworld is so cool.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
There's like the tanks.
Yeah.
Those levels are very hard and just like crazy. Like I had no idea there was like tanks in Mario. It's like this. It's you're not like destroying the tanks. They're just like driving. You have to jump over them.
It was just kind of like the airship level.
Exactly. Yeah. But anyway, you get into the room with Princess Peach. And this is what she says. Thank you, but our princess is in another castle. ... Just kidding. Ha ha ha. Bye bye.
Ha ha ha.
Peach is just like,
she's just pranking.
She don't care.
She don't care. She's been sitting there thinking that the whole time, like, oh, I'm gonna get him so good when he finally saves
She's
me.
obviously has not been in any distress at all. Just like, I'm gonna play a joke on Mario. Okay, but also I was like, wait, this is like crazy. That's not at all what she says in the Japanese version.
Really? Oh my god.
The Japanese version is so boring. It's just like, thank you. The Mushroom Kingdom has finally like become peaceful again. The end.
Wow.
So
that's so underwhelming. That's,
the translation 10 out of 10.
Yeah. They clearly were just like, no, we got to punch this up.
Yeah.
Actually,
we need to put ha ha
ha. I wonder what did it say in Japanese for your princess is in another castle? Because that's obviously become a very kind of iconic phrase in English. But I wonder maybe it wasn't in Japanese, and that's why they wouldn't have put it in the original Japanese version.
Yeah, it probably wasn't as iconic, I'm guessing.
I mean, we all know the Mountain Goat song. That doesn't get more iconic.
But actually, I think I'm pretty sure the original Mario Bros. They don't in the Japanese version. It's all English text.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like they wrote that because like they didn't have enough memory to put in like Japanese characters.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
That's like why a lot of like old Japanese games have like weird like just English as like the language.
Yeah.
Because they like, the Japanese alphabet is like twice as big.
Yeah, it's obviously way more complicated.
Yeah. In terms of how many characters they need. So yeah, I think it is the same. But I think probably the reason why it is like iconic is because it is like kind of weird English.
Yeah.
And they were just like, this is normal.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we'll talk more about the hype and everything in our next episode, but I do want to talk about the release of this game. So we talked about how like there was like the ROM shortage and stuff, and how it got hyped up in 2 issues of Nintendo Power. If you don't, the beginning of every Nintendo Power magazine is an ad for Nintendo Power, which is very strange. It's like a guy like, and he's like on fire or something. Like, this is an example. I don't know if there's one that's actually like this, but he's like, like screaming, and it's like, this is a guy who didn't get Nintendo Power. Like, you don't want to be like him.
Is this just on the top of your head?
I mean, yeah.
You should have been a writer for Nintendo Power. That's a great ad. This is what happens when you don't get Nintendo Power.
Around this time, also, Nintendo of America had started partnering with like established American brands to kind of like give them more like credibility with like adults, because obviously kids loved Nintendo, but like the thing about this like period of time, like the late 80s, was like kind of how like China is viewed now, I think, is like how Japan was viewed.
Really?
It's like,
wow.
because like, I mean, and Nintendo was like, one of like the big reasons for that, I think, because like they just came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden like I read some like crazy quote, like there was literally more homes in America had like Nintendos than had VCR machines or something like that.
Yeah.
Where it was just like in 5 years, in like the span of like 5 years, like they just like completely were like taking over, and like there was just all this crazy stuff where like American toy companies who had been like basically unchallenged to that point, because like now we don't really think of video games and toys as being in the same
but it makes
market.
sense. Obviously they were,
but at the time
yeah.
they were the same thing, and like they sold Nintendos at toy stores and stuff. Like toy makers and stuff were like scared of Nintendo because like they were like losing tons of money to Nintendo, basically,
because suddenly like the newest, coolest, like significantly more cool than any toy would be, right? Because it's like a whole new thing. Like video games come out, and also they're probably way more profitable.
Yeah,
because they're so expensive compared to toys, right?
Like I think like early Nintendo games were probably like that were like Mario and Mario 3 and stuff that were like huge hits. Were probably like, for like what the cost was to make them, I can't imagine a product ever being more profitable. Like the first Mario was like 6 people.
Yeah,
they paid 6 people to make it, and it was like, it made them like billions of dollars.
Yeah,
it's like, that's insane. Like when you think about comparing that to like movies, where it's like hundreds of people make like a blockbuster,
yeah, like for millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, like they cost millions of dollars, and then they, if it's successful, it'll make like some millions on top of that. But like,
just 6 guys in a room made Mario and changed the world, making so much money.
And then also like, add on that to like just like racism. Like people were just scared of Japan.
Yeah, I mean, and also this must have been, I guess I don't know when like the kind of spread of like other continents' culture in the United States would have happened. Because now it's like everyone has a concept of Japan or of any Asian country, really. Any of the like really
South Korea.
It's like, and most people have probably consumed some amount of their media, but it's like at this time, like there probably wasn't really anime in the way there is now. I mean, obviously not now, but it's like probably must have just been starting to come over, if at all.
Yeah, exactly.
And then like other media, toys, whatever, is like nowhere near what it is. So it's
Yeah, I think Nintendo was like at the forefront of that, and like had to like deal with like the issues around that. I think because like exactly, like I think there was concerns that it was like a foreign, like this foreign country's like weird stuff. Was like this is what all the kids were into.
Yeah, and I mean it's like Asia is like was one of the like other cultures or like continents that had as much kind of money and power as America, and probably the most culturally different. So like white America in the 80s, like, yeah, they must have been freaking out.
Yeah. Well, and like the business world in particular, I think was freaking out because like you were saying, this was like the late 80s. There was like a few years where like Japan in particular was like on top of the world, basically. There was like, I was reading, like in Tokyo, because of like, just like how insane the economy, like, and just like how insane like prices were getting, like Tokyo, like how much it would cost to buy like Tokyo, like the whole like the land was like 3 times the entire United States or something like that.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
And it was like a bubble.
That
Burst in like the early 90s.
Yeah. Oh, I think I remember learning about that in Japanese class. Nakajima.
Yeah, and they're like still recovering from that. Like, yeah, and so like Nintendo and then like obviously like other big companies like I feel like the 80s is really when like Honda and like Toyota and stuff like like now it's like very normal, I think, that everyone or like Japanese cars are everywhere, but like at the time that probably was like crazy too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, like I didn't even know until college that like most of the car brands that or like half of them are Japanese.
Yeah,
like I had no concept of that.
Let's see. Oh, so what I was originally going to say was, so they were partnering with other like brands. They partnered with McDonald's for a Super Mario Bros. Happy Meal, where you could get like Super Mario Bros. Toys.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I feel like that was, at least what I was reading, made it seem like that was like the first time that they had done something like that. And you can look up like commercials and of that where it's like there's one where it's a Mario, he jumps and hits a block and then gets bigger, and then next to him is I think Grimace and Ronald McDonald, and Grimace goes like, Mario hits a block and he gets bigger, and then Ronald McDonald goes like, my move is like I hit a thing and food like, and then you get fed or something, like hits a block and then like burgers come out of it. It's like very weird.
Wow. Classic advertising.
Yeah. But then they also released this commercial, which we have pulled up. It is you're only going to hear the audio, dear listener, but picture a bunch of people wearing blue shirts standing all together, and the camera slowly panning out, and I'll describe what it pans out to after we listen to it.
He's back. All you had to do was ask. Super Mario Brothers 3 from Nintendo. Now you're playing with power.
It pans out to, slowly pans out, so everyone's wearing a blue shirt, and it pans out to, that's like part of Mario's design, and it pans out to Mario's face covering North America, like from space, like a view from space.
That, I mean, what we were talking about, like, yeah, that was kind of ominous. That was kind of scary. Because it was so big on the planet in this ad, like the amount of people it would take to make that, it's implying world domination by Mario.
Yeah.
In the name of Mario.
Yeah. I feel like that's one of the best commercials I've ever seen. It's like so simple and just insane. It's like it doesn't even show the game at all. It doesn't talk about the game. It's just like Mario, Mario.
Yeah, it's just that one thing happens, but
Yeah.
it's very impactful.
Yeah, and it's just like
Truly kind of scary.
I feel like on the one sense, like they were trying to build that, but at the other like hand, like that was probably just what was going on. Just like kids being like, "Mario's coming."
He's back. All you had to do was ask.
All right, so Mario comes out, and Mario goes on to outsell any video game in history, and at the time, and gross more than $500 million.
Wow.
We had talked before about how the first Mario was the best-selling game of all time for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
The statistic is that Super Mario Bros. 3 was the best-selling game of all time for a long time, not counting like pack-in games. So like with the Nintendo, they would just like include Mario with it. So the best-selling game that didn't just like come with a console when you bought it.
That's actually like a very impressive accolade.
Yeah.
Because it's like that U2 album. It's like you really just can't take that seriously. Like that's
different. Like that's a little different because like that'd be like if you. Well, I guess it's kind of similar, but it's not like you like bought an iPod and like you got like the CD with it or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but it is just like obviously it is deserved in the case of Mario, but to have gotten that far just on the sales of the little square alone. Cartridge.
No, the little square. We're like big square. Those things are big.
Yeah.
They're like this tall.
They're like this tall, listener.
I feel like Nintendo games are some of the biggest like physically the biggest games of all time.
Yeah, actually, honestly, I don't know that there's any of them that were bigger than that.
Yeah.
Than the Nintendo original. And then consistently, like, the 64 were way bigger. Okay, that's one other example. The 64 were way bigger than like the PlayStation discs or whatever.
Well, yeah.
But then they compensated with the GameCube discs.
Yeah. Yeah, that was why they did that.
Yeah.
They're like these cartridges are so big, we need to make tiny discs. Was the Wii tiny discs too?
No, they were regular discs.
That's so weird. But you could put GameCube discs in the Wii.
Yeah.
That's so bizarre. I don't know why that's so weird to me, but
no, it's very weird.
It's like did it have to like detect when it was a tiny disc and like move the laser or something?
I wish I knew. I wish I had an answer for you, Devin.
Tim just like looked off into space like
I wish I knew.
God. So in the legacy of Super Mario Bros. 2, at least for Miyamoto, I don't remember where I got this from, but this is Miyamoto. The quote is, as much as the world loves Super Mario Bros. 3, Miyamoto himself has mixed feelings about it. Quote,
interesting.
I look back and play some of these games, and there are lots of places where, to be honest, I'm a little embarrassed. Oh, it's from a Time magazine interview. I looked at Super Mario Bros. 3 and feel like, this was it? This is what we thought was good enough?
What?
That being said, I do have new understandings of that work. The balance in that game is what it needed to be at the time. It really was. And so, even seeing all the limitations, I'm very happy with what we created, and I wouldn't change it. I feel like that's just Miyamoto being Miyamoto of like nothing's ever good enough.
Yeah, because like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's like what could else you've done on the Nintendo?
Yeah,
like
especially because it's like, you have to like look at that. Like Miyamoto, you have to look at that in comparison with the other ones, where it's like it is such a step forward. It's like it's just so nice.
Yeah, it's like incredible how much of a step forward it is.
Yeah, yeah. That's it's like. This level of self-doubt is arguably what makes him great. So you can't really fault him for it.
Yeah. We didn't talk about the music at all.
Yeah, actually, I didn't pay much attention to the music.
I definitely do feel like it is the weakest Mario soundtrack.
Yeah. I think it was really nice, but there weren't really many new songs, were there?
I think it's... Well, so like the underground theme is this like an evolution of it.
Yeah.
Sounds even more like the thing you like ripped off of.
Yeah.
But the main like ground theme is completely new.
Yeah.
And he Kondo talked about how like I feel like he had like writer's block or something.
Oh, interesting.
Where he said like he didn't really like think about the music all that much when he was making the first one.
Yeah.
And then it was like this huge hit, and obviously, and everyone was like saying that it was like he was like working in like all these weird genres, like he was like taking from like Latin music or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he was like, that got him into thinking like, well, like, should I be like picking a genre? And then like, I think that like kind of gave him writer's block.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why he would have like a lot more kind of pressure on himself.
Yeah.
To best the first one, and then also the second one, which had a lot of great music in it.
Yeah, I think probably the reason he didn't have writer's block for the second one is like all that music was not made for Mario.
Yeah, and
is my guess.
And then this one was. I mean, this really is in essence like the true sequel to Mario in a certain way, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like the Lost Levels and Mario 2 are both kind of like
different things. Yeah.
And it's
definitely.
like, whereas this is like very much like the evolution of it. And so it's like, how do you top da-da-da-da-da-da?
Yeah.
It's like, you can't.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And I feel like you were saying, the music is really good, but it's like, it doesn't stick with you, I feel like, is the thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like literally with most of the games, with all the Koji Kondo games we've played so far, it's like, I always immediately notice the music, and it's half the time it's like what I'm paying attention to.
Yeah.
In this, I honestly not at one single point like notice the music.
I really like the main overworld theme, or not the overworld, but like the main ground theme.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that is new, I think, with the music in this one is there's a lot more like percussion.
Oh, okay.
Like the original Mario, all the songs in that are like like simple tones essentially.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, it's like more layered.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's like more where the focus was, and it does sound cool. But
yeah, actually, it did, because I feel like it sounds almost close. It sounds in between the quality of like the 8-bit and the 16-bit, right? Like it doesn't sound quite like that really simple chip tune.
Right, because they like put that like extra processing power in it. They had more like to work with.
It's so crazy that they were just able to do that, because that essentially, like, this really is like almost an in-between console game, where it's like it really isn't an NES game,
and it's not the last time they'll do it. We'll see in the future with Star Fox.
Oh, that's what that is too? God, well, that makes sense.
And kind of, I mean, we're not talking about this game, but like it's kind of similar to like with like Donkey Kong 64. You know how you had to like
you're right,
add-on thing?
You're right. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's like Nintendo, they don't do that anymore, but like that was just a weird thing that they did.
Well, you know what? I guess they still don't really, but that feels almost in line with the way that they made the new 3DS. Do you know about this?
Oh,
where like they had the 3DS forever, and then they had the new 3DS, which in essence was just a better version of it. But then there were certain games that like only ran on that.
Yeah.
So it was like a mid console, like half upgrade.
Yeah.
But it is. Yeah.
They did that with like the DS too, whereas like there's like the DS, and then there was like.
Well, there was like
a million DS. There's like the Slim DS, the DSi.
Yeah, I guess the DSi, but none of those really had like games that you had to have the new one to play, right? I don't ever remember hearing about that.
I feel like the DSi you did like, but I don't really know.
What game would have come out on the DSi?
Or was it just that like you couldn't download games on the old DS, but you could download them on the DSi?
Oh, I think that's correct. Yeah.
That is Super Mario Bros. 3. Some would call it a Miyamoto's masterpiece. Some would call it one of the greatest games of all time.
Miyamoto wouldn't, but some would.
Miyamoto would be like, I have no masterpiece. It's all trash. Throw it all away.
That's why we love
Miyamoto is honestly like, he seems like such, like, I feel like the image of him is that he's such like a fun, like, loving guy.
Yeah.
It's just like, just make it fun. But he's like kind of a negative guy.
Yeah.
Like there's so many quotes online of him being like, yeah, like we just didn't do this right. This was a failure. Like I was reading the Wind Waker Wikipedia page, and and he was just like, Yeah, I just feel like it was a failure. Like there was no like new innovations in the gameplay. Like that's why people didn't like it. Is like there was nothing there for the fans.
That's so funny. I mean, I guess that kind of is in a certain way. That's right about Wind Waker, but not really. Wind Waker is so good.
We'll talk about it in a later episode.
Gosh, yeah. I mean, honestly, so far, what I really feel like I've learned about Miyamoto, because I do kind of have to remind myself occasionally that that's what the premise of this podcast is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I feel like it's that he really is a dark guy in a lot of ways. Like he is not the like Mario spirit embodied in the way that you kind of like see him when you only have like a very small perspective on him.
Yeah.
Because like I mean the way his kind of, I always forget the word, sadism, that we've observed in the other games where he's like he truly tries to punish us. He punishes himself. Like,
well, and I just remembered there's something I messaged you while playing the game. Towards the end of the game, in one of the castles, we talked about it in the Mario 2 episode, but how there's like a ledge where you have to jump off and then like go back the other direction. And there's a pipe with a piranha plant, and the piranha plant only comes out after you like jump up.
I actually didn't even realize that you were saying there's a piranha plant in there. I thought that that was my first thought, but then I saw that it wasn't.
That would
in the
be
picture.
Nothing if there wasn't a piranha plant there.
That's so.
So that's exactly what we were like complaining about as like horrible, just like sadistic in Super Mario Bros. 2. He brought it back, and he added a boo that's chasing you. So you have to like.
My God.
It's truly like
That's
insane.
So fucked up.
Yeah.
The boos in general are kind of another example of this, where they're like just kind of very aggressive. You can't kill them, right?
No.
Yeah, so
I feel like the boos are fine.
I mean, I enjoyed it, but it was just like, it's like, oh my gosh. Like, just if I turn around, it's like, it's just there.
Yeah.
Boo.
Boo.
Well, thank you for tuning in to Gameography.
We are almost like halfway through Miyamoto's career. Well, like we're honestly as far as games he really like was like the main hand behind it. This is almost the last one in a way.
That is it's kind of sad.
Once we get into the Super Nintendo era, he transitioned into more of like just a producer role, like overseeing lots of different projects, but not being like the main person on like being hands-on necessarily to the same extent. So shed a tear for that, I guess. And next episode, we will be covering the commercial movie for Super Mario Bros. 2 or 3, The Wizard.
The Wizard.
You can watch right along and laugh at all the weird stuff.
And remember, okay, maybe we'll tweet this. I don't know. If someone follows us at Gameography Pod, we'll tweet when we watch it. Wait, no, that doesn't make any sense. That's not going to work out.
Like live tweet it?
Like just say we're going to watch it so you can watch it with us. Maybe we'll tweet that before this, so that you can maybe watch it along.
Well,
this is all just a way of saying you should follow us at Gameography Pod.
Yeah. If you follow us, we will personally at you and tell you when we're watched.
Yeah. For real.
For real.
No joke. I'll do that.
You'll get a notification, be like, okay, it's wizard time.
That's what it'll say. Okay, it's wizard time.
Wahoo!
Woohoo! It's wizard time.
All right. Bye-bye.